Well, what do we have here, Dylan?
I'm tired of Dylan.
Didn't you just drive like 8 hours?
I got the goods.
Oh shit.
W58.
So, looks like Dylan is finally manual swapping his Cressida. But wait.
That's 1JZ bell housing.
What? Is that good or bad?
Well, depends on how you want to look at it. But if anyone needs a 7M to W58 bell housing, I got it.
Well, that's what you need.
No, I don't want it.
He just want it.
Well, no. See,
all right. So if he wanted to manual
like,
swap his car, he could do it. But
yes.
Now he's putting him in a position where he has to one day.
Yes.
All right. Well, sweet. It's come up season.
Not wearing shoes all day. What's up?
Yes, it is automatic. What is up, guys? Of course, we're down at the shop for another day, trying to get my S13 back together. It's starting to look like a car again. Pretty happy about it. Today, I think, is going to be a day of wiring. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably already about to click out of the video because you guys hate wiring, but we'll do other things today too, so stay tuned. Try and suck it up and get through it, because I know some of you guys see the wiring and you just bug out and you don't like it, but we got a lot to get done, and the wiring is a huge part of it. Once the wiring is done, it's all easy, tedious stuff in the bay. So now you're probably wondering why the hell I have to redo my wire harness. Technically, I don't, but I want to. Now, my wire harness right here, this is my engine harness. I added a few sensors to it, basically for the speed density stuff that I want to integrate into the harness so it runs cleaner. And there's also a few things on it that I want to reroute into a more efficient manner. And there's a few things on there I actually want to delete, simplify the harness a little bit. On top of that, I have my trans harness, which is right here, which has my transmission sensors, my starter, my alternator, all that good stuff on here that I could also simplify a lot. And honestly, I need to reroute a few things since I did tuck my body harness. If you guys notice, there's no chassis harness in the inside of the engine bay. It's all tucked behind the firewall. So we gotta extend a few things on that. This is a tedious job, so we should really just hop right into it. So first thing I'm doing is I gotta tear apart this harness. I'm gonna save that one for later. We'll take that for later. But for now, what I'm gonna be doing is deluming this whole god dang thing. Let's get to work. You guys who have survived the time lapse, we are officially delumed, well, for the most part. So it's all the wires are basically exposed, all the main wires. And the systems I'm not going to touch, I kind of just left wrapped, nice and easy. Now this harness is actually pretty easy. So all the stuff we don't need to touch in the engine bay is right here. It's basically our injectors, auto control valve, O2 sensor, coil pack harness, and then our coolant temp sensor harness, I guess I would call it, because it has a coolant temp sensor for the ECU and then one for the gauge. And then we have our TPS plug and then the spare plug that I don't even know what it does, but it always comes with it. And then coming over here, all we have is our cam angle sensor, which we need 100%, and our old MAV plug, and I think this is like a power steering rack switch. This is where it's gonna get controversial. Now, as you guys know, I am on speed density, and I plan on keeping this car on speed density for the rest of its life. So I'm gonna delete the MAV plug. I know it's kind of iffy. I'm gonna chop it out. I'm gonna, of course, leave the pins in the ECU, so if, like, God forbid I had to put it back in, it's doable. I'm gonna chop that out and basically pull all the wires back out of the harness and call it. We have two plugs we don't use anymore. One is like the OEM boost solenoid that like SRs come with, and then one is for like emissions thing that SRs come with that we don't need, so we can chop these out. Everything else is not in the way. This is actually gonna be behind the firewall, our igniter chip, and then our plugs for our chassis harness. And that's about it. All right, guys, so here is a super cringe moment. Oh, that's so bad. No more math. Later. All right, guys, so before we wrap up the wire harness, I actually have to wire in my new sensors, and those sensors are for the speed density. Now, they're not new. I had them last year, but they were kind of like on an external harness. I don't like the way they looked. We have our MAP sensor, which is our manifold absolute pressure, and then we have our intake air temperature sensor. The intake air temperature sensor actually is on right here, the intercooler piping. So that's gotta go all the way up to the front. And then our MAP sensor, we can kind of tuck in the back. We could actually run a vacuum line into the cabin, or we could just kind of put it right here. I'm gonna put it in the cabin. So I put longer wires on them right now. So here's the plug for the MAP sensor and wires that I got from the harness that I pulled out. And then I got my intake air temperature sensor right here, with wires I pulled out, so they actually run. So it sits up front where it's supposed to be and runs all the way through the harness. And then I have my excess wire right here. Now, since I have a Nismotronic ECU, it comes with a breakout box, and what a breakout box is, essentially allows us to pin more sensors into our wire harness, which are really cool, or into our ECU, so we could add external sensors like our map and take air temperature sensors. Many moments later, it's officially all wired up. Everything is wired into the breakout box. Now everything basically has a ground, a voltage out, and then a sensor reading bank, I guess you would call it. We're all set, so it has officially come the time where I have to go and spend a crap ton of money on electrical tape and wrap this whole thing up. I don't really have any fancy loom for it, unfortunately, but you're not gonna see any of this harness. At least that's the goal, so. All right, guys, so now usually go, like, where to start is I usually start at the plugs, and I'll usually just tape a couple inches of each plug, and so the ends are all done, and I'll start to group them together and then tape the groups up and just work your way down. You just don't want any wires binding up, and you want as much of the plug as possible, because the longer a plug is on its own, the easier it is to tuck away. So I actually went out and bought like nice electrical tape this time. I keep using this like $2 electrical tape.
Harbor Freight.
Yeah, and it's trash. Like, it goes on nice, but over time it gets hard, crusty, and I hate it. So I just sucked up and overpaid for electrical tape. But this stuff, the expensive stuff, stays like nice and tacky and bendable forever. So it's really worth the money, honestly. Right, YouTube? You know.
Absolutely. Harbor Freight electrical tape.
We're getting here. So here's basically my map sensors right here, and then the breakout box right here. It's on its own separate thing, but working our way there. It's officially done. Well, it's fully wrapped, and I mean, it's not the most pretty thing ever. It's just like electrical tape. But I'm gonna do what I usually do with kind of all these harnesses I like to do, is I basically taped all the sensors separately, so they're all on like really long strands. And then I'm gonna plug it into the car and see what wires basically follow the same route, and then tape those together as one, so it's a cleaner route, if that makes sense. And then whatever wires are exposed, I'll probably throw loom on, so it actually looks pretty good. So, YouTube, ready to throw her in?
Ready to throw her in.
Fish her through.
Push her through.
Step one. So this part, usually, this will go like right here and plug into the fuse box, but we tucked it inside the chassis, so we can put it inside the car. And so I have to unplug it so it could fit. All right, now pull. Oh, we got some bindage. Keep going, keep going. Oh boy, how to run this.
The valve come off.
This ground we'll ground later. All right, let's see if these are long enough to put underneath. I had to mess with the injectors a little bit. It was tight. I have just enough wires to run the injectors underneath the intake manifold. It looks pretty good. Because usually the whole harness runs over the top, and now we have it underneath, and I'm pretty happy with it. I definitely have to put loom on this harness right here because it's like so in your face. Maybe this one too, and I'd love to put some on the injectors because that's really all you see. I'm pretty happy about it. The engine harness is officially done. I mean, for like the most part. I mean, I still want to clean it up obviously, but it's there. So now we got to work on the transmission harness, which I'm dreading. It's just a dirty bitch, and we have to fully do that one. So let's see what DrewTube's up to. What's this one?
Big 16.
You got a big 16 finally.
Finally. Fuel injected. 2015 YZ250F. She's a keeper, hopefully.
That's hot.
Gonna polish her up all nice and get her shiny.
Look at the ooh. Ooh. DT weather update. Everything's freaking green. There's a lot of pollen. Allergies are acting up. Luckily, I just get a little drowsy. I get a little sniffles, but good thing we got caffeine to counteract the drowsiness. Drew, you ever have a Slurpee that melted and you still drink it anyways?
Absolutely.
Spot on.
Spot on.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Trans harness time. Now, what the hell is a trans harness? I said it before. It has the, where is it? Starter power, starter trigger, oil pressure sensor, which we're not using, the factory one that is. We have our alternator power, our alternator plug, which basically tells it to turn the hell on, and then our these connect to our chassis harness and our speed sensor. So we're gonna take this apart and figure out how we can run it more efficiently to work with our tucked body harness. So what's in this harness is a whole ground wire, so we can basically remove this. That's just technically grounds the engine to the chassis at another section, so we'll just put that on separate. So essentially what we have to really worry about is our powers, one to the starter, one to the alternator, and that's about it. Guys, so I actually had to extend like literally every single wire. I was running around like crazy trying to find the right gauge wire. Luckily I have that whole harness I ripped from that BMW from that junkyard that one day, so that saved me. But we extended the alternator switch power, the starter switch, the starter power, and the alternator power. The starter power was actually just long enough. I wish it was like 4 inches longer, but I mean that runs well enough. I'll take it. We're gonna take this up, throw it in the car, and see how well it fits, and that should really wrap up the wiring. What do you think, YouTube?
Fire, fuse box, tuck.
Dude, it's such a mess though underneath. I gotta figure out how to tuck all this stuff up. Look at this. Not proud of this. I'm probably gonna loom this one because you see so much of it, but I just wanna get it in the car first. But so I have it in a row, so I have the alternator plug, alternator power, starter switch, and it's all gonna be on one harness. Alright guys, she's done. Let's see how she works. Well, hopefully she fits. We'll find out. I just took the time and I zip tied all the wires out of the way, ran them where I would, all nice and tucked, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm a little upset. I didn't make the idle air, I didn't make the intake temperature airs. I didn't make the intake air temperature sensor wire long enough, so it has to go underneath. I wanted to like tuck it up underneath the intake, but besides that, it's pretty tucked, right? I forgot to wire in my coolant temp sensor, and I'm really upset about it, so I'm gonna have to run another wire through. But this, I'm probably gonna throw a piece of loom over because it's like 3 giant harnesses like just ran right there, and it's kind of bulky. But what do you think, Drew? Tube?
I think it looks pretty
tucked. That's actually pretty funny.
You feel me?
Okay, that was funny. 240 wiring is basically done. I still gotta do the fans, and I still gotta do my coolant temp sensor, and I still gotta do my gauges, but that is like a quick afternoon thing. We don't technically need to start the car, so I'm pretty pumped. Ready, Drew? Tube? You wanna do the honors? You wanna cross it out? Maybe we can cross it out, even though I gotta do the little things. We'll say we crossed it out. Drew Tube, do the honors.
Wiring. Done.
Nothing.
Let's go.
Alright guys, so the wiring's basically done. I really wanted to get the brakes bled so I could put the car on the ground because I'm like dying to see this thing off jack stands, but of course my rear caliper bleeders are completely stuck and that's not happening. So alright, got lucky, found some propane, got it loose, and Jip, if you're watching, I stole one of your bleeder screws. Thank you. I'll get you another one, but I want to get the brakes bled. I can never say that. Brakes bled. Pathetic. Hopefully they bleed right out and we can get the car on the ground. And the stance is gonna be all messed up, but it's gonna be exciting. You ready to pump, hold?
Yes.
Okay. Pump and hold.
Pump and hold?
Pump and hold. Nice. These things bled out so fast. All right, one more time, Ray. Sweet. I think we're all good. All right, I'm throwing these wheels on. Travis, help me with the camera work. These clear the Z-brakes with ease, and it's amazing. Ah, there it is.
Wow.
Look at the clearance on the Z-brakes. That's amazing. Nothing clears Z-brakes.
Out here getting Jimmy's Bay nice and clean.
Don blessed it.
Oh!
Oh, you think he'll be good? Maybe. Looks like she's on there.
On that side, it's not. Yep.
Alright.
Drop her down.
Drop her down.
Skid.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Dude. I always forget. Every time you lower a car off jack stands for the first time in like a long time, they always look stupid low. Doesn't my car look dumb low right now?
Yeah.
Like
That's
like,
all.
this is like so exciting. I miss this car so freaking much, dude. You can officially tell it's springtime. Like, look how many freaking dead bugs. Look, they go to the light and then they just die. Look, every single car, like the Z, filth. Look at these. This is a whole village.
It's an entire colony right
It's
there.
the whole colony. Almost forgot.
In the picture?
No, he was just trying to get the car because he's dick. Girls on elevated surfaces. Be careful.
Sorry, Z. No, I'm just. You got it? Yep.
Ready, Jimmy? Finish the sentence. It's tighter than.
A virgin in traffic. There we go.
There she is, boys. Crash bar back on. I forgot how much I love that thing. Dude, it's crazy how like tiny and low the car looks. Like, does it look so small now?
It's weird dropping it and then working on it. Everything's at like waist level or below.
Dude, so freaking, I love it.
Oh, guys, there it is. There's the thumbnail.
Well, so technically, I didn't really even realize this. I could start the car if I put oil in it. Technically, it'd probably run like crap because I have a bunch of vacuum leaks, but I could finish that up. But I just realized we can run it. No coolant in it, so we can't run it for long, but she'll run. She'll officially run. We were thinking about trying that tonight, but it's late. We're gonna save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow's adventure is getting this thing to run, and it's good news. What's the list? What's the list? Yeah, we can run it tomorrow. Even though it's not like perfectly ready, I put it on the ground. I'm really happy about it. We're getting there. Like I said, gotta button up the coolant system, do the vacuum stuff. I still gotta wire my gauges in and a bunch of other random stuff. And I lost my slave cylinder. I bought a brand new slave cylinder and I have no idea. I think Don freaking stole it. You stole it. That face. I gotta find it somewhere. It's. I've looked and I gotta order another one. That sucks. But do the slave, do that, and we should be all set. I'm excited. I'm gonna be. I miss this car so freaking much, guys. It's like, there it is. I'm gonna call it a night. It's late as heck, so you guys know the deal. Don, you want to end it for me?
Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Don't blow rocker arms. Have a good night.
Whoa, good one.